In this video, I'm going to be going through Pythagoras' theorem. So before I go into Pythagoras' theorem, you need to know what the hypotenuse is. So the hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right angle triangle, and it's always opposite the right angle. So as you can see here in the diagram, the hypotenuse, it's opposite the right angle and it's the longest side. Now, in Pythagoras' theorem, the square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the other two sides of the right angle triangle. So this only works for right angle triangles. So let's say we had sides of 4 and 3 here. So that means that 4 squared plus 3 squared will be equal to c squared. So 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9. Adding them together then we have 25. So 25 is equal to c squared. So to find c, we square root 25. So square root of 25 is equal to c. So that means 5 would be equal to c in this question. Okay, so let's have a look now at some examples. So you can see at the top here, I've just written again what the hypotenuse is, opposite the right angle and always the longest side. Now, in a Pythagoras question, you'll either have to find the hypotenuse or else either of the shorter sides. The longest sides are hypotenuse, which means you have 2 shorter sides. So if we want to find the longest side, like in this question here, we need to find x, and we can see that that's the hypotenuse at its opposite right angle. So what we do is simply square the sides. So we'll have 11 squared and 7 squared. So we have 121 and 49. Next step then, we add them. So that is 170. And then the final step, we square root. So square root of 170 is 13.038. So we'll just say to one decimal place for this, so it will just be 13. And to one decimal place. Okay, let's have a look at another one. So in this one now, we have to find a shorter side. We can see the hypotenuse is 25, and that's the longest side. So now we're finding a shorter side. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to square the sides. So we have 625 and 169. Now when it's a shorter side, we subtract. So let's take these away from each other. That leaves us with 456. And then the final step then, we square root. So square root 456. And that is 21.354. So we'll say it to one decimal place. So that would then be 21.4 to one decimal place. So as you can see, these questions are very easy. If you're finding the hypotenuse, you square the sides, you add and square root. If you're finding a shorter side, you square the sides, you subtract and square root. I've also included here on the right, you can see the formula, which is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. That's given to you in the exam, so if you want to use that, that's fine. This is just a handy way to remember it. Okay, so we'll finish here with a Leaving Cert ordinary question which came up a number of years ago. So in this question we have to use the theorem of Pythagoras to find RQ. So you can see in our triangle here on the left, RQ is here. Now in that triangle I can see the hypotenuse is 6.5, so that means RQ is one of the shorter sides. So first step, let's square the sides. So I have 42.25 and 10.89. Now let's subtract because it's a shorter side. And that gives us 31.36. Now remember, we need to square root this. So square root 31.36. That is equal to 5.6. So RQ is equal to 5.6. And that's our answer. Okay, any questions, please leave in the comments. Thank you.